Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, October 7th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread. First 2 cards we are starting our day off with today is, what do we have here? We've got here our 3 of Cups in its reversal and our Sun card in its reversal. So let's unpack a little. I know everybody's feeling a lot of this energetic heaviness right now. I'm going to say it again, my friends. We are coming out of eclipse season. If you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling energetically low, it's characteristic of the time period that we find ourselves in right now. The other thing that may be hard to navigate right now is recognizing and identifying that everybody is feeling this way. Everybody's feeling this way. So you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say the same thing that I always say when we find ourselves in this energetic frequency. Don't be triggered by those that aren't handling it as well. Make sure that you're navigating it with a sense or space of compassion, because one of the things that we're seeing that potentially happened over this weekend was a lot. I want to say this is a lot of that energy of better out than in to a certain extent. Having that experience, and this is why we see even now, and I have to stress this is even the energy in separation right now and within divine union, carrying a little bit of the energetic weight of the breakthrough that we see that some of the energy is having right now. If there's energy that was coming close to divine union and is now moving back into separation, right? Like, this is a lot of that energetic equivalent of remembering and reaffirming. Again, this is the same thing we saw. There's a lot of energy potentially. There's a lot of energy moving deeper into divine union right now because of the acknowledgement of where the work needs to be. So even for the energy coming into divine union right now, this is heavy, right? This is responsibility. This is shouldering that burden together and moving along the way. If these are spaces or places of acknowledging or identifying that sense that you cannot heal what does not desire to heal, or that sense of like cannot acknowledge a problem. If someone cannot acknowledge a problem, it is not something that can be fixed. It's something that has to be experienced. It's something that has to be part and parcel for being in an energetic connection. We see even now that a lot of that energy is moving into separation with a feeling of frustration, right? Because this is potentially energy that sees, they can see the fact that there's a possibility of healing something. They can see where the work needs to be. But this is the energy that's moving away from something every step of the way and saying to themselves, if they do not see it too, I'm doing that alone. And if you're doing the work to fix something energetically alone, you're not in an energetic divine union. You're coming into that space of accommodation. You're coming into that space of modification, of making those changes, trying to navigate and like it would almost require disassociation in order to perpetuate staying in an energetic connection. And this is the energy that once healed, having to look at a situation and say, oh, it's fine, I just have to disassociate in order to be in the energy. Like, that's the energy of saying that relationship would require me to exist in a space of delusion, right? So we see even now that a lot of that energy is stepping away from back into separation at this time. The healing that's coming through on this is the energy recognizing and reaffirming to themselves as they move away and saying, if you try to heal someone that doesn't want to heal with you, then it will never feel like it's healing. It will always feel like it's harming. So a lot of this energy right now, I want to say it is reaffirming to the path work, stepping back into separation, because this is an energy walking away from someone in order to try to like change them. There's a lot of this energy of someone walking away from a point of deep acceptance in relationality towards the manifestation goals that they may have versus the energy that they were trying to come into divine union with, because there's this observable moment that we identify and recognize. And this can be very difficult and painful, that desire, the longing for something, does not necessarily indicate the ability to work towards it, right? That's why we talk about the necessary ability of making sure that you're moving in the directionality of your manifestation goals. Because you can say that you want something as much as you want it, but if you're not doing the things necessary to move towards it, that's where we start experiencing, that's where you can give yourself like your own feelings of disruption or disbalance within the self, right? Because sometimes we have to recognize and understand that that's the beauty of having a manifestation goal. It really helps us clarify and articulate and find the shape of ourselves in the process or moving in the direction of it. So we see even now that while there may be some energy that's moving into separation right now, coming back into separation at the same time that there's energy coming into divine union. This is the energy that's looking at this and identifying and saying there isn't something there that they feel like they've lacked in doing in order to facilitate healing and energetic connection. If one's done everything that one can do, and requiring that sense of the other energy having to put in the same work, if this is the energy feeling like someone's saying that work isn't present to be done, this is the energy that says, I can't, we're striving for different things. We're trying to do different things. And so even here, I feel like that energy coming back into separation, and I need to stress it again, the feeling of being frustrated instead of devastated is the key in identifying the healing that's taking place, because this is an energy that's saying to themselves, why can't I make this person change? This is the energy saying, it's not my responsibility to make someone change into someone that they don't aspire or desire to be, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now, moving deeper into divine union, this is the energy that I need to say, like, this is energy like ready to get their hands dirty. You know what I mean? Like there's really something very beautiful about this here, because I can see it even now. Like this is the energy that is really coming to understand and recognize that being in the frequency of divine union isn't always sunshine and rainbows. It's being there for the gritty things. It's being there for the hard work. It's being there for the messy parts. And what's beautiful about the energy deep within divine union right now is this is the energy that, feels the weight and steadiness of the connection because of that sense of desiring. Like when you desire that point of being energetically with someone, this is what we mean when we say better or worse. That's the energy that says that regardless of the shape it is, you're always that sense of investiture. That in itself becomes supportive in that way, because that's that feeling of not being alone as you navigate those things. And this is a lot of energy right now that may be feeling that their own ability of showing someone parts of the self that they wouldn't necessarily be as eager to open up about. Like there's a lot of deepening of intimacy that's occurring there. And that's a lot of that Scorpio new moon energy coming in right now, because this is the energetic equivalent of showing someone those parts of the self that are less appealing, but also part and parcel for the experience of being ourselves. This is what we talk about when we talk about like our own shadow work. This is the work we talk about when we talk about investigating. And a lot of the energy right now I see in separation is also going through a bit of that energetic journey. Specifically and particularly I see right now, because this is a lot of the energy that's not only having to navigate some of the shadow work of the self, but they're also feeling like there's a lot of energy around them that is also trying to navigate that, right? So that ability of, we always talk about this, it's harder to stay positive when those around you aren't feeling very bright, right? It's harder to move into that moment of trying to stay trying to stay in that point of positivity. But we see even now that I need to stress this even now, if these are spaces or places with energy and separation where someone's like, why are you always able to keep such a positive vibration? This is the energy that almost is like articulating and saying, it's hard, it's difficult. But that's why you do it. It's not because it's easy. It's because it's hard. That's where the work begins. So a lot of this energetic heaviness right now, center card for our 5-card spread for today is, here's the thing about it. And I think that this is a really beautiful message that's coming through right now. joy is a choice, right? Joy is a choice. And so we see even here that ability of kind of navigating forward for energy and separation right now. I'm getting the same exact message that we saw over the last few days. The energy and separation and the energy deep within divine union are pretty much having the same exact work, which is, this is the energy that is working right now on building into a state of positivity, even if energetically it feels like that around you it isn't very positive, right? It is easy. It is and this, do you understand this? Like, this is also the energy that's coming into divine union. It's easy to feel confident. It's easy to feel like on cloud nine when everything is going energetically well. But the ability to maintain that point of balance, to continue to kind of stay in that space of positivity, particularly when others around you are either going through their own struggles, not navigating it as well, or even in a space or place of needing energetic help. We see even now that for a lot of that work, the ability to facilitate forward and try to maintain that energetic vibration, it feels very determinative right now. It feels like, I want to say, like the audacity of hope, if you will, that we're seeing that's coming through on this, because it's that remembering or that affirmation that, the reason that you maintain consistency in something is one's own ability to stay within it, even when things around you are energetically difficult. Now, for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, this is exactly what is bringing them into divine union right now, right? Because that ability of identifying and saying, I'm here to do the hard part. I'm not walking away in that moment when something gets difficult. I'm investing further into it. This is a lot of energy that is having some deep energetic breakthroughs right now at a time of coming into divine union. And it may feel like vertigo, because what's basically happening for that energy coming into divine union is in the modality or in the space or in the place wherein you identify that sense of breakthrough. What does it immediately harken back to? It reminds you of all those experiences that this may have been the breakdown moment, right? I just see even now, like, a lot of that sense of like kind of a set, like, moving forward, if you will, right now. This is a lot of energy that is moving forward and looking backward at the same time, but they're not looking backward from a state of regret or nostalgia. They're looking backward from a state of perspective. And some of that perspective is almost looking back with it, I want to say, like, on any unhealed karmic connections prior to this point, and almost feeling that modality of disappointment in terms of identifying and looking back at something that you may have been questioning more, now saying, I guess that they weren't as energetically committed to that path work, right? Because I keep seeing even now, if these are experiences where in the past, these were energetic connections where something always felt like it was coming into that point of breakthrough, and then things got difficult and energy ran away at a time that they should have leaned forward. This is the energy that's almost healing those unhealed karmic connections, because that's the energy that looks back and they don't almost hold them accountable for it. They almost just look at it with a sense of sadness and saying, that was someone who wasn't strong enough, right? Can you be angry at someone who wasn't strong enough? No. So we see even now, there's a lot of catharsis that's coming through for the energy coming into divine union, but it's catharsis that's heavy, but reaffirming one's own commitment of the directionality. Same goes right now for the energy deep within divine union. A lot of the same work I'm seeing. I don't even need to articulate much different from what I just said for the energy and separation right now, because the energy deep within divine union is very much in the same modality as the energy right now that is in separation. The energy within divine union, I'd say the only thing that's more difficult here is, I want to say, navigating some of the energy around you with the change, with the in relationality to your own determinations and changes right now. Because I see that there's a lot of energy right now for the energy deep within divine union that's coming into making very specific choices. And when you make a specific choice, that's what we see even now. Like, this is an easement point, but it's like an easement point that creates heaviness in the process. Next two cards in our 5-card spread. I am very relieved to see this card in its upright, because you will recall we had this card in its reversal in our last reading. So we've got here our Six of Cups in its upright in combination with our Hermit card in its upright. So there's, I have to say, I don't know if there'll be a lot of activity today, specifically and particularly because I'm just identifying here that for like a lot of this work that I'm seeing right now, it's feeling restorative. It's feeling compassionate. For the energy, and okay, so the energy deep within divine union and the energy in separation, a lot of this is, I'm just saying this is all about personal connections and the identification point in relationality to what feels like it has the possibility of maintaining and being healed. So even now, I want to say there may be like new conversations that are starting, like really like I'm seeing here like really deep conversations about things, but like getting to the heart of problems is what I'm seeing. Because even here, like I have to stress this. I wish I could show you this. Like I can show it to you. So I'll show you here. We've got our Three of Cups in its reversal with our Sun card, but then we've got, again, this balancing point with the Two of Pentacles in its reversal. And then we've got here our Six of Cups and our Hermit card. So this is saying to me there's a lot of conversations right now about making difficult choices and then having that moment of affirmation and support from those around you in the process of making an energetic decision, right? It's almost giving me a sense of like, I like this because this is the energy that like comes to a point of decision within the self, right? And then brings it forth to those around them, because this is the energy that's like ground testing their choice and then immediately feeling that sense of like, of like a support in doing so, right? So this is a lot of that, like, I wanted to say, remember the message we got last week was that sense of like allowing, being the voice of reason sometimes can feel difficult, but it also feels reaffirming because you know that you're moving in the action of what you feel is best. It's a lot of this type of energy right now. And I want to say this right now for both energy deep within divine union and also energy in separation. Now, the energy right now coming into divine union, this is exactly more of what we saw. We already got the next card out because they're flying out today. There's a lot of energy right now that's either moving into divine union because the mutual counterparts have observed and recognized that this is where the work begins. And this is the energy that's saying to one another, I'm here for the hard part. And the hard part is actually the foundation of what we're building together. Or if these are energies where someone is walking away, like I can almost hear someone going through a point of argumentation with someone, particularly and especially if someone is walking away from something and someone saying, you're leaving because it's too hard. This is the energy going, no, 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 no. Let's be clear on the difference. Let's be clear on the difference between walking away from something because something is too hard versus having to walk away from something because another won't acknowledge that there is something wrong. I can hear someone really, like I told you, the gift of that fastidiousness in Libra that's happening right now is saying to someone, let me be clear, I'm not necessarily walking away from you because I'm not invested in doing hard work. I'm potentially walking away from you because we must be invested in doing the same work. And if you're not able to acknowledge that, that's not walking away because something's hard. That's walking away from something because it's literally impossible, right? Continuing to get clarification, but I see even now, like that's a lot of that energy saying, I hope you understand that someday, because this is the energy saying like that is a point of clarity in trying to heal something in a moment of separation, because this isn't the energy moving into separation because they're hoping to see a change in someone. They're moving into separation because they recognize and identify that they know what is the right thing to do, right? Like I told you, the difference between in the right versus knowing what's right. Continuing to get clarification right now between our Three of Cups in its reversal and our Sun card in its reversal. There's that 10 of Cups that flew out of the deck before I was even done talking about the other cards. So there's a lot of energy right now. I need to stress this, hard decisions, but feeling a lot of confidence in those hard decisions. I like that. There's no vacillation here. Like the Libra, like Scorpio, new moon energy I'm getting here. I think that this is important because we have to talk about this. Scorpionic energy has a bit of a tendency of reacting first and thinking later. But what's nice about the combination of the Scorpio energy with the Libra balance is this is the energy that put in a lot of thought before coming into that space of fast action, right? So we see even now, like a lot of the gift for the energy moving in that way. That's why I said making sure that you're being intentional right now instead of reactive. If someone's trying to say to you now you're being reactive, I can see a lot of energy being like, let me tell you that nothing I'm doing right. Like this is the energy. This is like let me show you my work, right? Because this is the energy that's like showing the work in relationality to coming to a decision, right? So we see even now that a lot of that work there, it's heavy, it's hard, for separate energy and separation. This is a lot of focus and prioritizing of the self right now, but feeling very confident and strong in that way. And that's why I see even now there's a lot of energy that is in separation right now. But what's beautiful about it is I kind of see the energy in separation that are saying like, you know, this is, I'll put it this way. I see some energy in separation that are saying I'm lonesome, but I'm not lonely, right? Recognizing the difference between I'm lonesome and I'm not lonely, right? Because lonesome is the idea or the aspiration of craving a little energetic company, right? But lonely is the articulation of not potentially being comfortable with one's own, like in one's own energetic field. So we see even now that there's a lot of this energy right now that is identifying and feeling that sense of the difference between lonesome and not lonely, because this is the energy that's not desperate in a space of separation. And that's very beautiful because that's a lot of that energy that's feeling gratitude. You know, I see a lot of the energy right now in separation that even navigating difficulty right now, this is a lot of the energy that's working through that space or place of, you know, I want to say like, and this is what's hard. This is a lot of that discernment right now in Libra that we're seeing. Thank you for that gift. You know, being positive but realistic, you know? Like there's a lot of that energy here that I feel like is walking that line, because this is the energy that realizes and recognizes how difficult it is to maintain a point of positivity when those around you are maybe more in that space or that state that they're not doing so, right? I feel like there's a lot of energy right now that's doing work in separation and also within divine union, lifting up spirits, right? When we raise spirits energetically, that's that sense of, again, feeling that harmony of identifying and saying that you're not alone in the process of doing that. Now, all of this coming back right now to the energy coming into divine union, you know, the same feeling of like lifting of the spirits here, because this is the energy that recognizes the difficulty of the work, right? This is feeling the weight of that work, but in the sense of doing it together, mutually setting the path of being able to do something difficult together. This is the energy that immediately moves deeper into divine union, because that's the energy that says nothing is too heavy, because it's the energy saying this weight that you're creating is not weight, it's love. And that's the feeling of love that's pushing something up here. And it's in the mutual accountability of wanting to fix something that it gets raised, right? Well, again, this is why I see a lot of energy potentially moving into separation. I told you right now, it's a 50-50 split here, right down the middle. Because if these are situations or circumstances where someone's saying to someone, I can't fix it myself. I can't lift this without you. If you can't acknowledge that this needs to get repaired, and I'm telling you it needs to get fixed, then then the only thing that would be required here is I would have to exist. Like, this is a lot of the energy trying to say to someone, you're asking me to exist in something that I'm telling you is energetically broken. And so this is the energy saying, it's like you're asking me to live in, in a relationship with like a leaky bottom. It's like, you can't, like, that's the energy saying I can bail out water for only so long, unless we're mutually invested in doing that work. It's something that is repairable, but only if you'll agree that it is there to be fixed. So we see even now that a lot of that work here, this is why I see energy potentially walking away from something. And if someone's trying to say to them in the process of them walking away, you're not ready to do something hard, this is the energy going, no, 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 no. There's a difference between hard and impossible, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Sun card in its reversal in combination with our Two of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with, woohoo, look at this. I like this. This is what we keep talking about. Anything is fixable. Anything is fixable. Anything is fixable so long as there is mutual agreement that it needs to be fixed. Anything is fixable so long as there is mutual agreement on what needs to be fixed. And this is why I see some energy right now that was on the cusp of coming into divine union, potentially walking away from a situation or circumstance where someone is trying to say, hey, don't leave, but we're not going to energetically fix this. Because this is the energy saying, if we're not trying to fix the same thing, then we're building different things. If I'm coming into a relationship with you and I'm saying, hey, there's something wrong with this relationship, and you're saying nothing's wrong with this ship, this is the energy saying, well, I guess we're building different ships then, huh? Right? This is the energy that recalibrates and goes, if I'm saying that this is an issue and you're saying it's not, this is the energy going, well, we got to look at the blueprint again, because there's clearly something that has gone amiss between what you're trying to build and what I'm energetically trying to build, right? So this is that acknowledgement point. And I see even now, this is why so much of this energy potentially moving into separation at this point. This is not energy that's trying to come into a state of like conversation about it. This is the energy that says, you've shown me your blueprint is different than my blueprint, right? Like, this is the energy that isn't trying to convince someone that they should have the same one. This is the energy that feels like in the articulation of saying that something needs to be fixed and another person insisting that nothing is wrong. This is the energy that says, I've seen everything I need to see because you just showed me that your plans are not the same as mine, right? So this is the energy going, this is not a conversation. This is a declaration of independence. Like, this is the energy going, it's clear here that there's something different that's happening. So we see even now that for a lot of the energy navigating that space to a certain extent, that is the energy that again reaffirms and recommits their own point of stating that there's not, and if that's someone trying to come towards and modify or change something, this is the energy that's basically saying, as they're coming back into separation, I don't want you to feel like you have to build something that you don't want to build, right? Like, that's often what it can feel like when we have someone that's trying to come towards us and they desire us, but then they're very begrudging in relationality to what they need to do in order to maintain an energetic connection, right? This is the energy that almost says, like, this should feel like a joyous act. This should feel like a celebration. This is a work that is the existing in the connection point, right? And so we see even now, like, there's a lot of that energy that maybe even be saying to someone, hey, if you're coming back towards me in this space, are you actually, like, there's a difference between saying that you desire something versus being in that space of really being ready to put the work in, right? And so we see even now that a lot of that difficult conversation may be feeling like, even if these are energies here that are trying to get back into connection, this is the energy saying, do you want to re-articulate what it is that you want? Because if you're articulating what it is you want, I need to then tell you what it is what you're going to have to do to get there. Right? Like, if you want to build a house, you can't just say you want a house and then sit around and just like look around for one. You got to go get the nails. You got to go get the hammer. You got to be ready to start building it. Right? And so I'm seeing a lot of conversations on commitment right now. And the thing about this here is if this is the energy that is articulate, like this is why I see even now that this is either energy that's deeply building the foundation. This is the energy saying, we've just got it started on this relationship. We just got started in the relationship because now that things get hard, this is where the work begins. Immediately moving into divine union. Versus the energetic connections right now that, again, someone saying, if you want to come into connection with me, I'm not going to be the one who's going to do all the heavy lifting. Right? This is the energy saying, if you're not used to doing that work, maybe you've been in connections where someone else was doing all the heavy lifting, right? That happens sometimes. And so and that's where we find, this is why we see even now, I told you, a lot of this energy of feminine that is like in separation right now is a lot of this energy of feminine that's like, you can come in as long as you pick up a broom, as long as you know how to cook, because this is the energy of the feminine in separation that's basically allowing masculine to come towards them, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, but isn't necessarily like this is the feminine of energy, of the feminine saying to masculine, I can teach you how to do anything as long as you've got a work ethic. Like I can teach you how to do anything as long as you have a work ethic. So we do see that a bit of this work that we're identifying here is new energetic connections that are starting potentially with masculine, and again, masculine coming towards feminine right now in separation in this way, saying like, I want to say like it's masculine coming towards feminine saying I'm willing to work. Like that's the message of a lot of masculine coming towards feminine right now. Like I'm willing to work and I need to stress this. I need to point this out. This is not masculine coming towards feminine saying I'm willing to work as in I'm willing to impress you. I'm willing to like make you like, I'm willing to like, you know, like show off. This is masculine saying to feminine, I want you to understand that I am someone that understands that the best things in life require work, because that is the energy that is committed towards not just moving towards what feels like it's easy, but creating beauty in anything that they see. Same for the energy right now, deep within divine union, doing that work, right? Looking at the problem and never seeing a problem, right? When you have conviction, you don't look around and you see like difficulty. You see the possibility of what can become. So that ability of taking that work, even when it's hard, and allowing oneself the space to dream the possibilities, like we see even now, like that is the energy that sees. It's not the energy that has a blind eye to the difficulty, but it's the eye that is always seeking what could be better, what can be healing, right? That's hard work to be able to stay in that modality, but it is vital work, right? Because that's where compassion lives. Continuing to get clarification between our Two of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Six of Cups in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Wands. It's harder. It takes more work. It's not easy, right? It's messy, but it's beautiful in that mess, right? Because this is the energy that does not live in that space of, I want to say, fantasy. Like this isn't the energy that gets caught in the facade of what looks beautiful and harmonious. This is the energy deep within divine union that realizes that the gift of having something that feels so beautiful that others aspire and desire for, it usually takes a lot of work. You know, it usually takes a lot of difficulty. I told you, it's like the swan that's like coasting across the water and looks so effortless, but you can't see how fast those legs are just like trundling along underneath the surface, you know? The beauty that we provide to those around us is our compassion. The work is where the love lives, right? The result is what looks like it's effortless, but the love exists in making something that is so hard appear effortless. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, both deep within divine union and the energy in separation, that tenacity of moving towards what is the priority, keeping one's own focus and center on the energy that we care about. And when we care about energy, what do? Thank you for that, Swan. The energy that we care about, we never let them see how difficult it is. We never let them see how difficult it is, because that ability of masking the difficulty is often how we show our love. And our ability of hiding that, doing that work, that is another way that we heal, right? Because that, in that space of doing that, that is how we become energetically stronger, right? Because simply in that modality of being present with oneself and taking on that energetic burden, that is how we love. So we see even now a lot of energy right now building into new energetic connections. And one of the things that we're seeing that may be creating breakthroughs right now for the energy and separation is recognizing mutual tenacity, and that sense of saying, I don't just move towards things because it's easy and it makes one feel good, but saying, I move towards things because when I create love, I prioritize and I work to create that point of priority, come what may. While for the energy right now coming into divine union, this is the same amount of rigor that we see that is creating the foundation for a lot of these energetic connections. And it's hard, right? I can see a lot of that energy feeling like wildly triggered in the process of that. Because I see even now like a lot of that emotional outpouring and looking towards someone and saying, this is when they went away. This is when that past relationship, this is where that past heartbreak, this is where the damage was done. When someone looked at someone else's mess and said, that's not mine, that's too much, you're too much, this is too difficult, right? So what happens in the moment that someone comes across and sees that messiness and says, nope, that's mine, I guess this is where we're going to get started. These are the energies now that are healing, because that feeling of togetherness is one that is helping them recognize and identify that there was never anything wrong with them in the first place, beyond the fact that they hadn't found the right person to build it with. While for a lot of energy right now, moving back into separation that potentially came close to divine union, this is how a lot of that energy is healing in that process, in reaffirming and saying to oneself, it's not just enough to be in an energetic connection with someone when it feels good or when it looks good. The real love enters when something becomes hard. And so for a lot of this energy, what feels like frustrating is this is a lot of energy that said, I had a moment with someone. We reached that momentary bliss. And then we had to and that's where we were supposed to maintain and start our work. But as soon as something got difficult, they ran away. This is the energy saying some energy is not strong enough to hold that frequency. Some energy, the amount of work it takes to maintain that, it feels frightening, it feels overwhelming. But this isn't the energy that's blaming themselves for experiencing someone in that modality. This is the energy that is reaffirming their own commitment to saying to someone, even in this moment, I see even now, like, I see energy saying, have you reached this point? I see hard conversations with someone saying, and not in an accusatory way, almost saying to someone, have you reached this point with someone before? Like I see even now there may be that point of clarification here and someone identifying and recognizing and saying, do you see your own patterns? Is this something that you've experienced before? Because we keep seeing that for some of this energy, one of the counterparts knows where the work can be. They see the fact that this could be the beginning of something. But if it's not mutually acknowledged, this is the fundamental ending, right? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Cups and its upright in combination with our Hermit card and its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. This card may look familiar. Does she look familiar? Because it was the bottom of our deck in our last reading. We had our Queen of Wands in its reversal. This is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender. We already have the next card flying out of the deck. I'm going to put it here. The cards are flying out today. This is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Look at this energy right now. Masculine energy and the Hermit energy, very contemplative. Queen of Wands in that reversal. This is so I have to stress even now. These are how the counterparts are assisting one another right now. Right? Because even here for the energy deep within divine union, doing that work together, maintaining that point of positivity. I feel like for a lot of the feminine energy in this modality right now, this is really hard, because I see even now, this is feminine that often questions themselves, right? This is not the feminine that moves forward and always assumes that what they're doing feels energetically right. This is a feminine that goes through a lot of that conscientious process by which they question themselves, right? And so the benefit that I see that's happening right now that may feel somewhat different for the energy deep within divine union versus the energy in separation is, for the energy right now in divine union, masculine is in that modality of acting or providing that light to the feminine, right? These are the energies that move back and forth towards one another. So if this is a feminine that often questions themselves, this is a masculine that acts as a clear mirror when feminine's having those modalities of losing energetic confidence, in reaffirming and keeping the feminine in that point of remembering their own point of confidence, right? Because I see even here, I need to stress this right now. This isn't masculine energy coming towards feminine and saying, coming into a point of correction, saying you should do this, you should do that. This is the masculine energy saying, when you feel low, when you feel dark, I will be your flashlight. And when I feel dark, you will be my flashlight. It doesn't require us. It doesn't require that modality. Like that is how we act as clear mirrors for one another, right? Because this is the masculine energy that's helping the feminine see their own points of positivity in a feminine energy that feels that frustration in what they're trying to do and how difficult it is to do it. Masculine, why is masculine saying that to feminine within divine union? Because this is masculine saying to feminine, because you are always that light to me. You are always that light to me, even when you can't see it, right? So these are the energetic connections that are working with one another, deep within divine union or coming into divine union. And it doesn't require one to lean on the other, right? It doesn't require that sense of leaning on one another for support. It's just that gentle encouragement. That gentle pushing forward, right? That gentle nudge in helping someone like keep their head up, So we see even now, this is a lot of the energy coming into divine union that are having breakthroughs. And it feels like a lot of these breakthroughs, like they're overwhelming, because if these are spaces where something fell apart and now you're recognizing and identifying that this is the start, where everything fell apart, this is now the start. There's a lot of energy that is redefining some of those experiences in the past via the light of the energetic connection that's shining a light on those experiences in ways that you may not have perceived or seen them before, right? Perspective is important on the journey. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, this is why this may be feeling more difficult for masculine, for feminine right now. For masculine, this is the masculine coming into a point of understanding of the self wherein they're prioritizing what is important to them. And they're not allowing themselves to, there's bravery here. There's a masculine that's almost looking towards this point and saying, I'm moving towards things, not because they're easy, because they're hard, because this is the direction of the things that I'm moving towards that I care about most, right? So for masculine, this is a lot of the masculine coming into that more custodial energy and relationality to protecting the things that they care about. For feminine, there's a lot of this energy that's navigating, coming into divine union. If this is an energy of a masculine that's willing to do that hard work of the self, right? This is the masculine going, I'm willing to introspect for you. Like, this is the feminine that then feels like that sense of being like, wow, if they could do it, then anyone else before them could do that too. Like, this is the feminine looking back and being like, look, they made that choice. It's something that's possible here, and this is why the feminine's moving towards masculine in this way, because this is the feminine that looks towards a masculine that can introspect on their own journey and feels ultimately protected, because this isn't a masculine that just acts rashly. This is a masculine that questions themselves, much like the feminine does every step of the way. Counterpart energy here. This is why, if these are energetic connections that are like coming back into separation right now, this is a lot of that path work that it doesn't, this does not, these are, I need to stress this, these are not energies that are walking away from someone saying, well, once that person gets their head on straight, I know they'll know where to find me. There's a lot of this energy right now. This is why feminine saying, I don't want you to just say yes to anything I desire. I want you to know it within the self. I want you to feel it too, right? Because this is the feminine that says it's not just about agreeing. It's about desiring the same things. It's about having the same dreams. So this is a lot of the energy that's coming, like potentially moving away from a situation where they thought that they were on the same page, but in the modality of someone saying, this is an energetic problem, and the other person saying, I don't necessarily see that as a problem, right? Masculine may be looking towards feminine if that's occurring and saying to them, feminine, well, I think that you might not see yourself energetically clearly, right? Or feminine may be looking towards masculine and saying to masculine, I think you want something different than me. So you see even now that these are energies that are moving into separation, but they're not questioning themselves in the process. They're recognizing what the difficulty is, and they're looking towards a potential counterpart and saying, if you can't see it, then there's no possibility of healing it, right? Well, for the energy right now in separation, here are the new energetic connections that are coming along. And this is the feminine energy that's looking for, this is feminine energy saying, I'm looking for a self-reflective man, masculine energy. I'm looking for the masculine energy that sees themselves clearly, right? Because this is the feminine says, when masculine sees themselves clearly, then I know that they're a clear mirror for me as well. And this is the feminine that says, I do that work in questioning myself. So this is the feminine that sees that masculine in that same process of introspection that allows for that sense of peace. So we see even now, I told you, even in the midst of a lot of energy saying that there's no time for new energetic connections, we see here that there are new energetic connections that are potentially forming, right? Masculine looking towards feminine and saying, feminine questions themselves, but that's only because there's a limitation to what they can do on their own, right? And this is masculine. This is feminine looking towards a masculine and feeling that energetic appeal of a masculine that feels like, again, there's that openness, that self-reflection. When masculine is able to articulate upon their emotions, feminine feels safe because that's a feminine energy that says this is a masculine energy that first and foremost protects the world from themselves in their worst modalities, right? Continuing to get clarification between our 9 of Cups in its upright in combination with our 3 of Pentacles in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our King of Cups in its reversal. Now, for the energy in separation right now, I keep getting, this is the same, look at these potential counterparts right now in separation. Masculine, feeling a lot of potential emotional overwhelm right now. There's just, there's a lot of this here is what we're seeing. But I need to stress this. This is not masculine energy experiencing emotional overwhelm in that state or space where they're becoming energetically volatile, right? There's a lot of this masculine energy right now I'm seeing in separation that is specifically and particularly assessing their own emotions. They're coming into that pathwork of introspection around them to a certain extent, right? So even there's a lot of new energetic connections that are potentially forming at this time with masculine coming towards feminine. And I think that this is very valuable, remembering that the ability to articulate to emotional overwhelms instead of reacting towards it is how the feminine feels safe. So even here, and this is what's beautiful about this is the masculine that is almost saying to themselves in the process, I never felt safe expressing my emotions, right? So there's something really important about that ability of the masculine to also unpack their own ability of coming into the expression of your own emotionality, potentially even talking towards feminine in that way and saying, I never felt like it was emotionally safe for me to articulate upon my emotions. This is the foundation of a lot of new energetic connections that are forming here, because I see that a lot of feminine energy is encountering and finding masculine, I want to say, like, I just see the space of them saying, I don't want to waste any time, you know? Like, this is the energy saying, I just don't want to waste any time trying to build towards a false illusion of like what I aspire for. I almost see the masculine saying to feminine, I want someone that can accept me for who I am. And I recognize and I realize that only by accepting myself for who I am are you going to be able to see me in that way, right? While for feminine, we see feminine in this modality here of the feminine saying, I'm not energetically perfect. But this is the feminine in separation saying, I recognize that a good partnership is not going to require me to be energetically perfect. It's going to require me to be able to communicate upon what it is that I hope to change, what it is that I hope to aspire to do. And this is the feminine energy that says, again, this isn't the feminine that just talks about those problems, right? And looks to others to be able to find the solution to the problems. This is the energy of the feminine that says those limitations are ones that they're actively working towards, right? Like, this is the energy of the feminine that's like, they're not waiting around for someone else to fulfill their dreams. They're doing that work for themselves in the meantime. These are the two energies that are potentially coming towards one another right now in separation. Well, the energy right now coming into divine union, this is the same exact message that we see for the energy in separation. Masculine saying, is healing and saying, I never felt it was safe to express my emotions. This is how they're healing, right? Because masculine's doing that work at introspection. Feminine having that modality of saying, I always have that anxiety that if I'm not perfect, then I don't deserve to be in a healthy partnership. But both of these energies right now are recognizing that their own ability to articulate upon that, as opposed to reacting to it, this is what's allowing for the breakthrough into a deeper connection. Because this is the energy that says this is where our work begins. And this is why even now, if these are situations where there was something that came close to coming into divine union and someone said we need to work on this and someone said I don't know what you're talking about, a lot of this feels like a foundational closure point with a lot of energy coming into separation, because this is the energy that walks away from something and says, I can't fix something if someone doesn't see it as a problem. And if someone doesn't see it as a problem, then maybe we don't have the same manifestation goals, because this is the energy that's almost saying, like, I think your blueprint might be different than my blueprint, right? The difference between like talking towards what it is you desire, but then actually putting the work in. I feel like even there's a question of, there's like the energy, if there's conflict that's arising in that, that's the energy that recognizes the difference between the conflict of an argument, right? Energies that desire the same thing and just have different ways of going about it, versus conflict, which is two energies that want different things and start pulling on each other. The only difference I'm seeing here, there's some energy right now that's healing and saying, look, I'm not going to pull on this. This shouldn't feel like a tug of war. It should feel like a dance. And this is the energy saying, if it feels like a tug of war just coming into union, then maybe this is the energy saying, do you want to like reassess or re-articulate what it is that you actually want? Because it seems to me that we might have different things that we actually want when we might be saying we want the same thing, but what that actually is may require a little bit more nuance here, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Three of Pentacles and its upright in combination with our Seven of Wands. In its upright, may I please have one card to clarify? Center card again. Two of Wands. I mean, this is what's interesting about this. I mean, I see the fact that energy is willing to conversate on this, but to a point. Like I see that there's something about this, that the energy that's going, like, and I'm talking specifically for the energy that's struggling into divine union right now. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of this energy here that someone's trying to like argue with them, and someone being like, I don't really think that there's much to argue about, like there's a lot of this energy right now that maybe potentially like weighing the difference between productive conversation or argumentation for the sake of argumentation, right? Those are different things. And I'll put it again, the difference between an argument, right? What's an argument? Like two energies that want the same things. You just got different ways of doing it. You know, you're squabbling over the details, you know, like, versus conflict, which is volatile, which is angry, which is like that push and pull. And so I see even now there may be some energy that's felt confident in the determination to come back into to go into separation here. And this is the energy that's almost saying like the difference between, and this is important, the difference between someone saying, come back, versus someone saying, I want to move forward. Like, I just see a lot of energy right now that's very perceptive coming into separation on the difference between someone saying, come back to where we were, back to what we had, versus I want to move forward. I want to proceed ahead. I want to continue because we spoke a lot about the fact that some energy like skirts the edge of coming into divine union interminably, because that sense of commitment, that ability to stay in something because it's hard, instead of looking for something that is accommodating or energetically convenient. You know, even here, I see that a lot of energy is splitting hairs, and even someone's potentially saying to someone, you know, you're really going to let something go over something as small as this. And I can see some energy saying, this isn't small. This isn't small, it's fundamental, right? Because that ability of how one works through difficult things is fundamental, right? So that sometimes that's why we talk about that straw that can break the camel's back. It's about something small that creates clarity on something that is fundamental. So we see even now like a lot of that energy here moving into separation, but I see even now, I see a lot of energy that's been in separation conversating with someone about those hurdles, potentially having to say to someone, yeah, you know, it felt like every small thing created argumentation, or I started to see that pattern emerging. And this is the energy almost saying to new energetic connections, I had to walk away from something I didn't desire to walk away from, but because I recognized the difference between what I could change within the self versus what someone wanted to change with me, right? And so even now there's that is the foundation of the energy coming into new partnerships in separation. And there's frustration here. There's exasperation. There's exhaustion. And there's a lot of this energy right now in separation saying, almost in that space of being like, I've given up. Like I see the energy saying, yeah, I've just kind of given up. And that's where they're meeting one another at this point. They're both at that point being like, I've just kind of given up. I'm doing my own thing for that reason. And the energy saying, you too, right? While the energy right now that's coming into divine union, this is the commitment. This is the energy saying it's a mess, but it's our mess. That's the energy saying, I'm grateful for that mess. I would give anything for that. It's a gift. I get the energy saying it's a gift to have the privilege of helping you with your mess. Because that is the frequency of divine union. That is a frequency that says, you know, it could use a couple coats of paint. You know, we can fix it. Like this is the energy of divine union that says it's a mess, but what's a mess if you can fix anything, right? Like what's a mess if you can fix anything? While for the energy within divine union, like I almost see them articulating and saying this to others, which is like, again, if there's, the only thing I'm seeing for the energy deep within divine union is if there's energy deep within divine union that feels like they're having like someone's, you know, being argumentative towards them and saying, you're lucky. Like I see a lot of the energy within divine union getting very frustrated right now, being like, must be nice. You're so lucky, or something like that. And a lot of the energy in divine union saying, like almost saying to one another, like they don't understand, you know, like they don't understand. It's not that it's easy. It's that it's incredibly hard. Right. And so I see even now, like there's a little bit of that energy, you know, identifying that ability of building forth with someone in a way, you know, that, you know, like that sense of saying, like, you have to be invested in doing that work, you know, and it's hard because that's the energy. It's almost like sighing and being like, yeah, it's, you know, it's, oh yeah, must be like, it's like if someone says to you in that moment, like, must be nice, being like, You know, like, what are you going to say? You know, continuing to get clarification between our King of Cups and its reversal in combination with our Two of Wands and its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the thing about, I need to stress this. There's some energy right now deep within divine union that feels energetically isolated within the divine union, because that the modality of, you know, being within that is one that can potentially be hard for others to understand, right? Because that aspect of being aspirational, it's not aspirational, it's devotional, right? It's not easy, it's hard. And so that's that space or place that feels paradoxical in the sense that, like, again, this is the swan. This is the swan. Look at this parallel. The energy that moves so effortlessly, but is working so hard under the surface. The reason that the energy moves smoothly is because of all the work underneath that is continually working to make it smooth. So if it looks smooth, it's because of rigor. If it looks effortless, it's because of hard work. It's not easy, it's incredibly hard. So when someone says, like, how did you get so lucky? Someone looks and goes, there's no luck. There's no luck. It's all work. Continuing to get clarification for the energy coming into divine union. This is the energy that is getting it. Like, they're like, I get it now. This is the energy that's saying, oh, I get it now. Right? And if this was energy that felt like someone moved away from them when things got too hard, this is someone saying that person's only ever seen the illusion of what is easy. And as soon as something isn't easy, they go, oh, this must not be it. This is too hard. Not recognizing and realizing that the beauty of anything easy is that it's exhausting and difficult. So this is why this energy is coming into divine union, because this is the energy that says, for better or worse, come what may. It's the intentional act that moves one forward into a point of maintenance, that you decide to create this, regardless of whether you feel like this. You maintain the consistency. While for masculine and feminine energy and separation, I see a lot of energy having conversations about this. The difference between something that comes easily versus something that comes easily because of the hard work, because of the rigor. Right? And so we see even now, like, a lot of the energy of masculine and feminine feeling that frustration point, potentially, and saying, I keep encountering someone who wants the ideal, but isn't there to work for it. And so that is the breakthrough point that we're potentially seeing in some of these energetic connections, because they're identifying one another via the rigor. Continuing clarification on these cards right now between our Two of Wands in combination with our Ten of Cups and its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with Hangman, right? And this is the energy that recognizes that ability of working towards something. There's no abandonment towards it, right? Because this is the energy that effectively, again, in separation, you see this even now, this is a lot of energy in separation that is saying, I feel like I'm the only person in the world that knows what it means to work for something that you care about. And this is energy potentially coming into contact with other energy in that moment of saying, no, I feel the same way, right? This is a lot of that energy saying, yeah, it feels really hard to always be the person that does the right thing. It feels really hard to always feeling like what is energetically right beyond what is in someone's rights to do. So this is a lot of energy right now that's potentially in that moment. And I see even now, like, for some of the energy right now in separation, feeling much like the energy within divine union, feeling frustrated, a little bit isolated, because that sense. But this is also the energy that says, I don't do this. This is the energy in separation that says, you don't put that effort or energy in for the sake of another. This is the energy saying, I would do it anyway. I do it for the self, right? This is the energy saying, I'm not looking for anything from someone. I'm looking to expand what I already energetically have, because this is the energy that, again, is lonesome, but not lonely. Different things. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep within divine union, this is the energy that potentially gets frustrated when others identify or say that they have some kind of energetic ideal that kind of fell into their lap. Because this is much like the energy that we just spoke about, being like nothing easy is as easy as it seems. There's a lot of work that's that's created in taking care of the seams. If it looks seamless, it's because it's crafted by an expert hand. You don't see the stitches. you don't see the difficulties, because this is the energy that speaks in the place of love, which works tirelessly to create that without burdening those around them of it. So this is the energy that is respectful to it, in terms of articulating and reminding others around them and saying, I know it might look like that is the case, but rest assured that it isn't. While for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is the breakthrough point. Because if this is energy that had those moments in the past where they said everything was ideal until it got hard and then the ideal shattered. This is a lot of the energy saying that relationship I had, it was fragile. It was built off the illusion of what something should look like, but it could not stand the weight or the pressure that was required to maintain it. It's easy for something to be beautiful when there's no pressure on it, but the ability to identify and feel that point of pressure without it cracking, without it coming apart at the seams, this is the energy that's having that breakthrough point and feeling the stability of an energetic connection in the moment that it gets difficult, but finding ways of making it persist anyway. That feels that gift of, again, not necessarily knowing what the future holds, but knowing that but having the security and knowing that the lack of abandonment or the ability to build forth with one another, that is the point of strength. Because this is the energy, it almost feels like they're starting from the bottom, but when you're starting from the bottom, that is the foundation from which to build. Well, this is why we see a lot of this energy right now. If this is energy coming into separation because one person is articulating something that needs to change and the other one saying, I don't know what you're talking about, or you're causing disruptions where no disruptions ought to be. This is the energy saying, I think the reason you're not willing to change is because this is your ideal. You don't necessarily want to move deeper into a connection. You want to stand on the shoreline. And this is the energy says, if that's that modality, this isn't the energy trying to change someone's manifestation goals. I almost feel like I see someone leaving and saying, you should be more clear on what it is that you desire to make sure that you don't accidentally interrupt someone's moving towards their manifestation goals in the process. I see a lot of energy coming into an educational moment in conversating with someone, all for the sake of trying to help them in the process of leaving an energetic connection. Final card, but even in that place, it feels restorative because this is energy that's even moving away from something and trying to energetically heal as they go. Final card for today's spread between our Three of Wands in its reversal and our Hangman energy in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification, the Hierophant in its reversal. Big energy today, and it is having a different impact on the frequency. So let's talk a little bit about what we just articulated in the difference between the energy coming into divine union right now versus the energy fundamentally walking away from each other. This is all of this energy and remembering and recognizing that to build into a healthy energetic connection, it always requires work. It always requires that additional difficulty. That can feel like a burden. If we feel like, if it's not something that we want to manifest, that discomfort feeling, that frustration will always feel like it's painful. But when we're in that space, I need to stress this. This is why the Hangman is the same exact motion of the World card. Because when the Hangman is doing something difficult for the sake of those they care about, it feels like a joy. It feels like the pain that is the gift. So a lot of this energy right now is coming into divine union, recognizing that by navigating one's hurdles, doing that hard work for one another, that is the gift that they're giving forth towards one another. Because that is the energy that is recognizing that advancement of partnership, much like the advancement of the self, is one upon where and what we invest the work on. in terms of easing it, in terms of understanding one another, in terms of communicating to one another better. And so a lot of these energies right now are working through communication hurdles, coming into divine union, observing them, saying, oh no, I see here, we've got a big communication problem. We've got to work on this. This is what I think we have to work on. And and look, it's not requiring them to be exactly lockstep here. They may be articulating on what they feel like they need to change and adjust, but they're both invested in that. And that is the energy that is deep within divine union as they craft and build upon what the shape of their relationship is, because they're doing that together. It's the mutual investment. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, potentially moving back into separation, this is that limitation point, because if you're trying to say to someone, look, there's something here we need to fix, and someone's like, I don't see that. I don't see it. It's not there. It's not there. Earmuffs, like, you know, like a little bit of that energy going, no, like that, and being like, no, but we shouldn't be like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, that's the energy going, we can't fix something. You can't fix something if someone's insisting it's not broken. You can't heal something if someone's saying it's fine. Leave it alone, right? So we see even now, like, this is the energy saying there's no energetic commitment if you're only moving towards things when it feels good. Because if that's the energy that runs away from the hard work, this is the energy saying, okay, you can stay on the outskirts of coming into divine union as long as you want, but recognize if you're going through those cyclical patterns that, you know, when things get hard, you get going. You know, I see a lot of energy saying, almost like moving away from someone and saying, have you noticed this pattern before? Like, have you noticed that maybe there's a pattern there, right? So we see even now, like, some energies potentially moving away from an energetic connection where someone is not aware of their own patterns. And again, what's frustrating about that is I see someone literally saying as they do so, I would be willing to work with that. Like, that's something we could work on together, but only if you see it too, right? While the energy in separation, this is where these new energetic connections are coming through. I see a lot of new energetic connections with someone like building forth towards something and being like, I am so tired of becoming a part of someone's unhealthy energetic pattern. You know, I just even see now like a lot of energy building into new energetic connections and saying, I'm tired of being a lesson in someone else's energetic experience. Like, that's the energy, that's the exhaustion point here, because this is the energy that's like, again, looking towards something and saying, I see what could have been fixed, and I recognize that I can't fix it unless they want to fix it too. And this is the energy coming towards one another, masculine and feminine in separation, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, saying, I'm tired of being everyone else's energetic lesson, right? And in the process of doing that, I see like a hello, like there are new energetic connections that are starting there, because these are all the physicians fighting each other and being like, oh, there you are. While for the energy of deep within divine union right now, this is what I see is just frustrating, because it feels to me like there's a lot of energy that is misunderstanding the amount of work it takes or the nature of your energetic relationship. Because I just see even now like a lot of this energy potentially around the divine union, almost like, you know, like knocking something out of hand and being like, oh, it's just so easy for you. Like, you got so lucky, you know, and this is the energy being like, if you think luck had any part to do with it, you are sadly mistaken, because luck is where opportunity meets experience. Luck is where work and tenacity meet like sublime occurrence. So we see even now that this is a lot of the energy with the deep within divine union that's almost trying to help, and again, a clear way, dispel someone else's concern, like misunderstandings of the nature of what it is that they truly inhabit. Bottom of the deck on today's reading is, we've got here our 8 of Pentacles in its reversal. And nobody wants to work. I don't mean that in like I mean that in like the emotional, spiritual way. Nobody wants to, like, this is a lot of the energy right now, feeling the frustration point and being like, nobody wants to work, even the energy that's working right now. Because again, for the energy deep within divine union, this is where a little bit of that energy feels frustrated or audacious at this moment, because I feel like even now the energy deep within divine union is going through those moments of someone not like misunderstanding what you do or what you do in partnership. And so I see even now like a lot of that energy being like, they don't understand how much work, like they don't understand, like they don't understand how much work it is. And so even in that modality, it's like I see even now this is the energy that's like it work when you work to make something, when you work to make something seem like it's effortless, and then you're so good at it that everyone assumes that it's effortless. You're like, oh, it is. It's like it's frustrating. While for the energy coming into divine union, this is the energy that is feeling a massive amount of perception, because this is the energy saying, everything's a mess right now. But in some way it feels like it's better than it is, because there's a lot of energy right now that sense of acceptance. Someone saying, I accept your mess and I'm willing to work on it. This is the energy going, is this awful or is this perfect? Because this is the energy that's feeling that volatility of improvement, where there's always room to build. But also this is a lot of the energy saying, I've never been in that point of acceptance before. And so even now, this is the energy reorienting and looking at the past through new eyes with an energetic counterpart that is committed in building with you. While for masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is the energy in separation that feels frustrated because you feel like you're the only person who's willing to work on partnership, right? But what's important, I have to stress this right now. A lot of this energy in partnership, it's not the fact that you're not willing to work. I'm seeing that a lot of this energy is just not willing to take on another person's energetic responsibility in the process. So I see even now that there is something here that's different, because this is the energy that's acknowledging that they themselves are different, because this is the energy that says, I'm willing to help you with your homework, but I'm not going to do it with you because I've learned my lesson on what happens when I do someone else's homework for them. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, when you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Also, please remember that I will never reach out to you for a reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way that you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings for the day. First and foremost, we are having our next tarot class this week. I am so excited. Please join me this Thursday at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Lover's card. I am so excited to teach this card, because not only are we teaching it in Libra season, which is my association to that card, but we will also are now starting the second cycle in the tarot. That is the triptychs. I cannot wait to teach you guys this. And if you are not a part of that class right now, all you need to do is head over to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack will grant you is your ticket to our live class, but also it will open your access to the full repository of course materials and recordings for our previous classes. So if you've missed anything, you haven't. You've got you got a whole week to catch up, but you don't have to watch those classes before the next class. I will also be giving a recap. They'll be available for you to review at your leisure. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any question in relation to anything that we've learned thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own particular tarot journey and give you insights in terms of how to utilize those classes and your own studies to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I tried to do with these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There is definitely something there for everyone. So I want to thank you if you're already joining us there, and I look forward to seeing you at our next class. And even if you do not become, and also if you are a subscriber here on my TikTok, I want you to head over to our subscriber only Discord channel, which should be available to you in your subscriber perks. You will find in that Discord channel an additional coupon to get an even deeper discount onto that class program. So make sure that you head over there if you're a subscriber here. Even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offering services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know both about my in-person events and my live social schedule. Thank you. I also post the giveaways, and speaking of giveaways, we have announced the winner for our September giveaway in our newsletter yesterday. Congratulations to our winner. You can head over to my Substack to see who that was. If you would like to enter our October giveaway to win a free private tarot reading with me, simply head over to the link tree in my bio. There is a 2-minute travel survey there. Filling out that travel survey will grant you an entry into the survey, but if you would like to increase your chances of winning, go ahead and forward that survey to a friend, because when I pull the winner, I will be giving away not only a reading to the person that wins, but also to the individual that referred them. So thank you if you've already entered, and I wish you the best of luck of winning this month. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I now also offer mentorship courses. These are focused on whatever area of personal growth, spirituality, or personal development you are most invested in learning more about. I take a very limited number of students for this reason. These can be purchased on an individual class level or as a monthly class package. That is 4 45-minute classes, 1 per week or bi-weekly as your schedule allows. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule allows, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today. Also, I want to let you know that we've opened up our floor right now to moderators. If you are interested in becoming a moderator on our TikTok, go ahead to my Substack. You'll find an application form there, or email me directly at gracestrega@gmail.com so I can tell you more about our gift back program for our moderators. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again